Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola Beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola Beer and I'm so excited to be sharing with you today about living your life now, before regrets. It's basically about looking at your life, reflecting on where you are now. As emotional eating is the highest cause of obesity in Western society today. And emotional trauma is the single biggest factor in all cases of anorexia and bulimia. Now there may be physical trauma as well, but it's the emotional trauma that lasts. Many of the counselling sessions that I run begin by encouraging people to talk about their past. This can commonly include questions like what happened, what went wrong, and this can be a powerful way to help people release any baggage from their past affecting their life, their eating habits, their lifestyle, their exercise habits now. Another very useful exercise is to look forward and imagine that you are at the end of your life and ask yourself a number of powerful, important questions. For example, were you really happy? Are you really happy? Did you do what you wanted? Are you doing what you want to do? Do you make the most of every opportunity that was given to you? If you need a simple way to remember these, then Brendon Burchard, who is now one of the most world's leading high performance coaches, sums up this concept brilliantly. After surviving a car accident at the age of 19, Brendon came up with the following 3 questions that altered the course of his life. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Really powerful, isn't it? I'll read them again to you. Did I love? Did I live? Did I matter? After sharing his story, he became a viral hit with over 27 million views. Why? Because people were inspired. They're inspired because they knew, like many people that listened to those 3 questions, realised that perhaps they're not. And there is still hope. Hope that you can have the life that you want to live. There is still hope that you can do, be and have whatever you want in your life. Now I know you may reject that. However, when you start applying the techniques of creating the life that you want, amazing things happen. It's all about focus, decisions and taking action. Sadly, too few of us acknowledge what is really important to us and end up with regrets at the end of our lives. In her book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, Bronnie Bear, who worked as a palliative carer in Australia, wrote that when dying patients were questioned about any regrets they had or anything they would have done differently, common themes surfaced again and again. These included not having had the courage to live the life that they really wanted, wishing that they hadn't worked so hard, wishing they had the courage to express themselves, wishing that they'd stayed in touch with friends, and wishing that they'd allowed themselves to be happier. And I often like to go through these with individuals working on changing their life, whether it's about letting go of resentments in marriage, becoming free from unhelpful eating patterns in my eating coaching, and in my anxiety coaching to help give that perspective. So I'm going to talk you through these 5 regrets of the dying by Bronnie Bear from her studies of dying patients. The first one is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This was the most common regret of all. When people realise that their life is almost over and look back on it clearly, it is easy to see how many dreams may have gone unfulfilled. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. Most people had not honoured even half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. Health brings a freedom very few realise until they no longer have it. For me, I grew up with this unspoken pressure to live my life a certain way. It was expected that I'd find the one, get married, have children, live in my hometown, and have a steady 9-to-5 job. That was what was expected of me. But it wasn't for me, and deep down I knew that. In 2007, I moved to Dubai, only to find myself again trapped in this world of unspoken pressures where friends, colleagues, and my employer expected me to do and have certain things and to live my life in a certain way. I was expected to work hard, party till the early hours in the morning, wear the right clothes, drive the right car, own the right pair of sunglasses, travel to the right countries. It was exhausting. In fact, it was so exhausting trying to keep everyone happy that one day I just had enough. And that was a defining moment for me. The moment that changed my life and put me on a new path. The path that I wanted and the path that felt right for me. When I eventually figured out what I wanted and what was unique about me, it gave me the courage to change my life completely. I sold my car, I quit my job, I changed careers, and I've never looked back. Of course, I did it in the most sensible and safest way possible. I made sure I did have some savings. I made sure I had a good business plan that I ran through with a business coach, and then I was ready. I could trust myself. So, are you being who you really want to be? Or are you living a life others expect of you? If you're listening where you can pause this, then go ahead and write down some things that you really love to do, that you're not doing, and the action that you can take to really make that happen. What do you really love? And if you're really stuck right now knowing what you really love, then you might want to go back to your childhood. What did you love as a child? What did you love as a teenager? What did you love in your early 20s? Do any of those still apply? Or have you told yourself, you're too old, there's not enough time, there's not enough money to pursue them? The second top regret of the dying is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. While some women in Bronnie's book spoke of this regret, more men seemed to have this regret. Many talked about how working so hard meant that they missed their children's youth and their partner's companionship, that their marriage suffered because they were working too hard, or their health suffered because they were working so hard, something that they took for granted at the time. This is a huge regret for so many people, perhaps even more so today when we are involved in work, even when we leave the office with our phones. I can really relate to this one, as I used to be a complete workaholic. Even though I didn't even enjoy my work, I still used to work really, really hard because I strove for being the best. I was on a treadmill, striving for excellence, thinking that it would make me happier and more successful. And I couldn't have been more wrong. Working harder made me miserable. Working harder did not make me any more successful. And when I finally figured out that happiness comes from within, it comes from designing your life to make sure that it's in line with your values. One of the things that I have in my different audio programs is a values sheet. So you can really look at, where are you now and where do you want to be? Are you living your life according to what's most important to you? When I figured out what was important to me and designed my life around it, I was cured from what we now call the rat race. I made a commitment to myself to do yoga every day and to have a meal with someone daily, with no mobile phones, to really connect with others. The biggest thing that really helped my emotional eating was to sit down and eat my meal with no distractions. And I do that every day now. I cook my meal and I spend time cooking my meal. I make it look really presentable, and I'm going to be talking more about the different kinds of hungers and why that's important in stopping emotional eating. So do check out the next podcast and do subscribe to the Emotions and Eating show so you don't miss that. And I take time for myself. I give myself a break. I really enjoy my food. In fact, when I was at work and when I was in my eating issue phase of my life, I used to eat really quickly. I used to eat in front of my desk. At home, I used to eat whilst doing something else, and I overate, or I just ate what I had and I felt hungry afterwards because my mind and my body hadn't processed all that I was eating. So now I really take time to eat mindfully, and it's amazing the difference that can make. What else can you do to give yourself a break? What could you do that would make you smile? If you had an extra 2 hours in your day, what would you do? These are some of the really powerful questions that you can ask yourself, because your happiness is directly linked to the way that you eat. So is how you manage stress, how you manage anxiety. Our emotions in this society are so integrated and tangled up with our eating. Gone are the days where we used to eat only for nutrition and fuel. The third regret is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Sadly, many people Bronnie spoke to had suppressed their feelings in order to keep peace with others. As a result, they settled for a mediocre existence and never became who they were truly capable of becoming. Many developed illnesses relating to the bitterness and resentment they carried as a result. This is so sad and so unnecessary. In my life, I struggled for years to be the perfect girlfriend. I would never say what bothered me, and regularly swept it all under the carpet and let frustration and resentment build inside of me. I also never really expressed my true feelings with my mother, who had caused me a lot of heartache over the years, and I kept all the negative emotions inside my body rather than letting them go. And it's not loving to hold on to negative emotions. In fact, it hurts us to carry anger, fears, resentments, sadness. Think about what you're holding on to as you listen to this. Are there some things that you're really holding on to and you're not expressing? Often when I do my one-to-one work, I help people learn the power of saying no. And we do some exercises to really embody saying no. And sometimes it might not be appropriate to let them out or say something to that person. But maybe it's appropriate to get some other help and to release it and let it out to a different person to express your feelings. When we really let go and allow ourselves to speak, when we give ourselves a voice, we can really feel a renewed sense of calm and peace afterwards. So is there something you're not expressing right now? Is there an incident or incidents that have led to the way that you eat and you haven't addressed them? These are all things to really think about. The next one is, I wish I had the courage to stay in touch with my friends. Often people would not truly realise the full benefits of old friends until their dying weeks, and it was not always possible to track them down, writes Bronnie in her book. Many had become so caught up in their busy lives that they had let golden friendships slip by over the years. There were many deep regrets about not giving friendships the time and effort they deserved. Everyone misses their friends when they're dying. That's what she said. That's what she discovered. As an expat, this was something that I used to really regret. Having lived outside of the UK now for more than 12 years, I too had lost touch with the people who used to matter to me. So when I realised this, I made it a pact to really connect. And this also helps installing and maintaining a healthy lifestyle and eating patterns. Because when we feel full of love, happiness, connection, belonging, there's less desire to use food to fill that hole. making a pact to really reconnect with my